back to my channel. So today I have a video that has been requested by some people about, since I bake on my channel, like I do baking recipes. Baking's a big part of my life. I have been baking since I was 10 years old. I stopped for about 20 years and then have been doing it since my mid-30s. Got back into it, and then having my YouTube channel, I've really gotten into really more baking than what I was doing before, which I love. I love to bake. I'm not one of these that does fancy type of baking. I do very easy, simple recipes, and with that, I like to share that with you. So people ask me what I use for like my baking essentials, as well as how do I store the things that I use, because I have posted a pantry tour and organization. I will actually link that in the card up above for you. Also, I get asked, do I really, when I show my videos, I'll kind of show like my flour and sugar, and people have asked me, is that really how I store them, and do I use it? And the answer is yes, that is how I store my essentials for baking. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But I first want to start with what I like to have on hand and what I've kind of collected over the last, many years to kind of help me to make sure I have these on hand to make my baking go as smooth as possible. And I think it's really important to have a few different types of measuring type of utensils or bowls, and I start anywhere from, I picked this one up at Dollarama. I have a few actually Betty Crocker line products here, and I really like them. So I picked up this plastic 2-cup one from Dollarama, and I think it was, I don't even remember what the price, but I really like it because it's got the spout and the handle, and it has this plastic bottom on it, so it does stay pretty sturdy when I'm measuring. And I will use this most time. This is what I'm using for measuring actually all my wet ingredients, and I think it's really important to have a liquid type of measuring cup. It just makes it more accurate, in my opinion, for when you're measuring liquids like oil and water and that kind of thing. Now I also have this glass Pyrex measuring bowl as well, and this is a 1 liter or 1,000 ml glass measuring cup, and I actually use this to melt my chocolate chips, my candy wafers, that I do all different kinds of dipping types of baking. And this thing is perfect because it holds a couple bags in here and melts perfectly since it is microwave safe. I love this thing. And then it's nice because when I'm filming, you can actually see through it. And I've picked this, I just picked this one up, I think from Walmart. They carry the the Pyrex brand, and I like it. I like to mix a lot of times is this, this is actually from Pampered Chef. This is an 8-cup or 2 quarts, I guess you could say. I'm gonna do everything in cups. So this is an 8-cup glass. You can use it measuring. I usually just put things in here to mix up. So I use this a lot for my measuring bowl, especially when I'm doing videos, because then you can see through. It makes it nice, and it's nice and deep. I really like this one. It's easy cleanup, and it's great. I've had this for many, many years, and I love it. And it did come with a lid. Can't remember if I still have the lid. I think I do, but I like that you can actually do batters and whatnot, and you could do it and store it in your fridge with the lid, or just put some saran wrap. And again, it has a handle and it has the pour spout, which is what I love about mixing bowls. They're my favorite thing to use. It's important. You kind of need this for baking, is measuring cups, a set of measuring cups. And I think a good one is really important. I started off with ones from the dollar store. I ended up purchasing these Betty Crocker ones from Dollarama as well. And I really like them. They're nice. They've got little spout on each side, which I love about these. And it goes from a 1/4 cup all the way up to a full cup. And it also actually, what's really nice is it has the mils on there as well. I do use these, but I usually will use a lot of times my metal. I have a nice set of metal measuring cups here, and actually Derek bought these for me one Christmas. They had like this kitchen kiosk in the mall years and years ago, and he had got me a few things from this kitchen kiosk, and these are one of my favorite things to use. I like that they're metal and they're really nice. And what I love about when you buy a set of measuring cups is that they actually usually will go in, and they're made for really easy storage. So I really like to use a combination. I'll just grab whatever's handy, but I do like to have a couple different sets of these. I have some measuring spoons, and I actually do have a couple different sets of metal ones, and these he purchased for me as well. When he got me the measuring cups, he got me the measuring spoons, and I think I really like metal ones. I prefer that, and I think it's important to have a good set of measuring spoons. So I've had both of these for a really, really long time. And then in the last couple years, I just picked up one of these cookie scoops. I can't remember what the brand is of this one, or I actually don't know what the size. I think it's a tablespoon one. And this thing I have been using a ton in my baking, and I didn't have one until I started doing YouTube videos, but I had always been one of those that I would like to have one, and it's making a lot of different cookies really awesome. And I've also used it to make truffles, and it's just really great. And I think it was like $5 at Walmart. And I like to have just a plain whisk, so I again have this. I got this Betty Crocker one, Dollarama. I think, when you're wanting to, you don't necessarily need a mixer. You can it's important to have a good hand whisk. And I also just picked this up because I think it's adorable. I usually use a white spatula. A spatula for me is essential in baking, because when you're mixing and you want to make sure you're incorporating all your ingredients, you need to have a spatula. A spoon works fine, but stuff sticks around the bowl, and you really need to mix that in. So good spatula is important. And I have a white one that I use that I got from Pampered Chef again years ago. I used to be into that whole Pampered Chef parties, going to my friends and my family, and I haven't been to one in a long time, but I did pick up a few things from them because they do sell really awesome things. They are kind of expensive, but Pampered Chef has really nice kitchen stuff. If you're ever know someone who's having a party, you should go and pick up a few essentials, and then you'll have them for forever. But this one is Baby It's Cold Outside, and from Walmart, and it was $3, and I'm really excited to use this for Christmas time. It's so cute, and I love spatulas. They're a huge staple that I make sure that I have. Having a spoon is really important. You're gonna have to get stuff out of your measuring spoons. You're gonna have to get things out of cans, whatnot. I use a spoon all the time. That is an essential, maybe not seem like a no-brainer, but I make sure I have that handy. And of course, I have a knife on hand. This I do for leveling my flour, my sugar, brown sugars, my salts, baking soda, all of that, because in baking it's really important for me anyways, because I am not very good at estimating. I need to go what exactly the recipe says. That's how it works for me. And I make sure everything's level, and I use a butter knife. I think that's important. A good set of bakeware is really important. I've picked mine up at Walmart. I've actually picked up one of the bread loaves baking pans from actually Dollarama, which is pretty good. But I like these for cookie sheets. I like these Baker's Secret ones, and these are, I don't even know what the size are, but I use these specifically for cookies. And it's really important, what I found through trial and error right in the early part of my baking, is that when you're gonna bake, you wanna designate one or two. If you have a bunch of cookie sheets, you want to make sure you designate, depending on how much you bake. I do two specifically for my cookies, because it can transfer the tastes, I found, and I found that early on. So I make sure I bought these two, and they don't rust, they're non-stick. It makes, I will use parchment paper sometimes, but it makes for really great baking of cookies. And these Baker's Secret ones are really awesome and easy to wash up, and they weren't that expensive, but I can't remember the price. So I make sure I designate two, because I like to make big batches of cookies. I I have 2 of these specifically for cookies, and I don't put anything else on these baking sheets. And then I make sure I have a couple loaf pans. I have a Wilton. This is a 9 by, what is it, 9 by 5 loaf pan, which I love. This is my favorite loaf pan, and I think I got that at Walmart. And then I picked up a Betty Crocker one. This one, I don't know what the size is. This was $3, and it's not as nice or as deep as the Wilton one, but it was cheaper. And you know what? It's a second one because I'll make 2 loaves of, you know, pumpkin loaf banana bread, and it works fine. I prefer, if I could pick and choose, I'd definitely go with the Wilton or Baker's Secret because they just make really nice lines of bakeware. And just recently, a new purchase is what, you know, you bake, you want to display it on something cute, you know, whether you have people over or like in my videos. I haven't used this one yet because I usually use a plate, but I wanted to really get something cute for my videos, and I'm excited to incorporate this in some upcoming Christmas baking, as well as you know, if people come over, I can display it. And I got it for 50% off at Michael's, and I believe I got it for $11. So it's a galvanized metal pedestal, and it's got the little scalloped edges, and I just think it is really, really cute. And I can't wait to get started to use that in my videos, or if people come over and want to put some of my baking on there. And the other kind of essentials that I like to have on hand is parchment paper. And I just pick up parchment paper, usually from Walmart, for really inexpensive. And I use this a ton in baking, especially when I'm doing cookies or a chocolate type of chocolate covered truffles or desserts. It comes in handy. It's a definite thing I like to have on hand. Also, when I'm freezing my baking, I use parchment paper to go between the layers of cookies and squares, because it just, so they don't stick to each other. This thing's a lifesaver. Betty Crocker carries these parchment paper sheets. They are, did they even say, they're 15 inches by 12 inches, and 10 come in a pack for $1.25. These things have been awesome. They don't curl. I use these for actually for a lot of different things, and I like these because they're easy to use. I don't have to rip it off of the roll. It doesn't curl. So I use these a lot. I love them, and I will cut them down. I don't know. So between the two, the roll and the sheets, I make sure I have parchment paper. Can also have wax paper as well, but I just prefer parchment paper, just my preference. My KitchenAid mixer. Derek bought this for me almost 2 Christmases ago. I've always wanted one, and this thing is heavy, so I'm not gonna pull it out. Like, I can't believe how heavy it is. And I love that my KitchenAid comes with 3 different attachments. There's the wire whisk, which is what I use mostly, and then the paddle, the wire paddle, or sorry, the metal paddle. And I haven't used this one yet, but it does have a bread paddle attachment as well, so I have yet to use this. But this thing, I love that it comes with these 3 attachments, and the one I use the most is the wire whisk. And I love that it just basically goes on and twists on, and you're done. And the bottom, it moves up and down. I'm sorry, I'm kind of in the way there, but I love this thing. Mine has the handle, and then it attaches on each side. It just slips in, slides or clicks on. There's others that have where the bowl sits on the bottom, but there's so many different lines of KitchenAids. Like, I didn't realize there were so many to choose from. So, whew, I can't believe there's tons of them. But what I love about it is it's deep. I can do my mixing, and it cuts my mixing time. It has cut my mixing time like in half. I used to use a hand mixer. I very rarely use that now. And so it saves me from doing the work, and my KitchenAid does the work, and I love that. And it also has this attachment that you could do pasta, I think, or meat, grind meat, whatnot, but I haven't used that as well. So what I love is it's got 10 different settings as well for speed, and I usually will bring this onto my island to mix. But this thing is heavy. I couldn't believe how heavy it is, and it's solid and it's awesome, and it's definitely an investment. And as I said, they have various price ranges of these. This one is the Professional 6000 HD. I have no idea what that means. That's just my brand, and Derek did get it from Costco. So this particular one was purchased at Costco in Canada, but I've seen so many different ones, and now they make smaller ones for smaller kitchen space, whatnot. So I just love this thing. It looks sleek. There's so many different colors, but it's become my essential that I have in my baking now, and I just love this thing. And then when I'm not using it, I just store. Maybe this isn't what you're supposed to do, but I store it. And actually, what's really nice is all three attachment or dishwasher safe in the top rack of your dishwasher. So that's really important to remember, and that the bowl is dishwasher safe as well. So I just put that in, and then I wipe down. When I'm done my baking, I'll wipe down my KitchenAid and put it off into the side, the corner, and then wash that up. So I just love that thing, and I think it is amazing. Get into the actual how I store my flour and sugar, and I actually bought these larger 2 containers from Walmart, and I wanted clear containers for like my icing sugar, brown sugar, and my salt, baking soda powder, because I want to see what I have. I had everything in bags and boxes, and it was thrown into my pantry and was just turning into a disaster, because then I didn't know how much I had left, and I tried to think about what I could do to make it better for me and more organized. So I went to Walmart. They have bigger ones than this, but this one works perfect for what I want for storing a flour. So I actually do store all my flour, my sugar. I have this container that I got at Superstore for brown sugar, and then icing sugar, again, I got these 2 actually from Superstore, and then the salt, baking soda, and baking powder, I purchased these from the dollar store. And I like these because they're small enough, and then they also show what's in there. And then what I ended up doing was getting some chalkboard labels. These ones are the Martha Stewart ones. And I picked them up at Michael's with a coupon a few years back, but the dollar store now carries chalkboard labels, and back a few years ago they didn't. So I would just even now go to the dollar store and get them. And then I just got a chalkboard pen, and I wrote on there as neatly as I could for what each item is. And I honestly, this is how I store my baking items, and these are what I always have on hand. I always have this, and it's showing me what I need to, if I'm getting low, like I actually need to get some flour because I will be baking soon for Christmas, and sugar. So this allows me to see what I have, and if I'm getting low, and that way I keep things nicely rotated. I just like this. It works for me, and I love it. And it looks neat and tidy, and I think it looks really cute as well. And I also like to make sure I have vegetable oil on hand. I also have some Pam baking spray. This is actually my basket of baking spices. So I have everything from honey, I've got ground cloves, I've got sprinkles. This is where I keep my vanilla. The main thing that I have in here that I always make sure I have is vanilla. I really think it's important to have a good vanilla, and I actually picked up this when I was in Punta Cana, and it's awesome. I love it. It's 100% natural vanilla, and I still have some. I've got less than half there, and it's a really nice vanilla. So I really like, I don't want imitation vanilla extract. It's completely, I can tell the difference, and when I'm baking, I want to make sure I have a good vanilla. That for me is really, really key, is to having a good vanilla. I will need, and what I can do is just, if I need to, I can pull out this whole basket. Most times I'm just pulling out the few things like my vanilla and maybe some food coloring or whatnot. But what I like is the stores in my pantry, sits because I have wire shelving, and it keeps it all clutter free by being in this basket. And I really like it, and the basket was like maybe $2. So guys, this is actually how I store my dry ingredients for my baking. So it is in my pantry, and you can see it's neat and tidy. I love it. I walk in and this is how it looks. It makes me happy to see it all organized like this. Everything I can see what I need if I need to replenish. But this is really how I store it. I know people have asked me, do you really honestly use it like this? And I really do. It's so much easier for baking, and it's actually made my baking a lot of fun. So I thought I would just show you that, in fact, this is how it looks in my pantry. Yes. Tools, if you're just starting off baking, if you do bake and wanted some ideas on what I like to use, I hope it did give you some inspiration, as over the years I didn't buy all this at once. It has been gradual over many, many years, and some of it has been gifted from Derek, and others I have bought myself. So it takes time to build it up and to get what you want, but I think investing in some really good pieces does make baking that much better and easier, and then you'll have them for a very long time. So leave me any questions or comments below. Do you do baking like I do? Do you enjoy it? I do it because I like to share it with other people. That's what makes me happy. I like to sample. One of my favorite things to bake is chocolate chip banana bread. I like to do that kind of year round, and then at Christmas baking is my absolute favorite time of the year for baking and sharing and bringing that to coworkers and family and friends and sharing. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.